So Vidya, you were, the usual IMA graduate and business and all that stuff when you and Rashi started Edelweiss. And when the business became successful, you chose actually a little different path than be in business or go to some other business. So tell us a little bit about the birth of Edelgive, and you've done it from the beginning. It's not like when you become a big business, that's how we would do it. You did it from the beginning. So what was your thinking when you started Edelgive?
Right from the beginning, right from the time that Edelweiss was founded, we had decided that some part of our profit would go to charity. And I joined the group only in 2000, after it had sort of seen the early birth pangs. But one of the great responsibilities that I'm very lucky about I got was to really manage this allocation. And I also had the privilege of initially writing checks, but then following up with visiting some of the nonprofits that we had funded. And one of the things that struck me was really, the commonality between the journey of Edelweiss and the journey of some of the nonprofits that we had, some of the founders that we had supported. A lot of them were young. They had a lot of passion, commitment, integrity. But their ability to think through organizational issues, to worry about how the scaling would happen, how the sustainability would happen, all those issues were things that they were really grappling with. And it was a journey that we'd been through ourselves, because the founders of Edelweiss were not people who had the money and the family to back them up. It was all homegrown in that sense. And I think that was what gave us the idea that we should not only set up a foundation that would fund nonprofits, but actually get into the job of helping these nonprofit founders grow, scale, think about sustainability, and really build world-class nonprofits in India.
So I'll give a little background of why I was fascinated by this. Is that there's a lot of organizations that give money, as you were saying. And there is also a lot of organizations that say, okay, we'll only give you advice, no money. But you have a hybrid model, and actually a lot of your employees get involved in it also. So tell a little bit about the kinds of organizations you want to support.
I think, there are a large number of organizations today in India where, we also top the list as far as per capita NGOs, per person in India also.
Yeah.
But I think our idea was to find nonprofits with young founders, young organizations, obviously very good work on the field, great programs, no question about passion, integrity, etc. But people with the hunger to grow their programs, to think, to evolve. So those were the kinds of founders that we actively looked for. And even today, that's the kind we've seeded a lot of nonprofits as well, but we've also worked with young founders in their 20s and early 30s who've decided really to give their life to doing the kind of work they do. So some of the organizations, for example, in Mumbai, there's a night school program that we supported called Masoom, which was, again, a very young founder who gave up a government job to set up work around building better night schools for children obviously from underprivileged backgrounds. We have programs like this across India, whether and we work in 10 states. But like you said, the idea was to also be a hybrid. And the thing with a lot of young founders is their ability to convert the passion into an organization, building systems and processes, building 5-year plans, worrying about financial sustainability. These are all issues that we went in and focused on. And the hybrid works only because we have the whole army of Edelweiss employees volunteering their time pro bono along with their day jobs or aside from their day jobs to really spend time with the nonprofits that we support. We also realize that it needs to be a structured, committed activity A lot of nonprofits don't like volunteering because volunteering can become unstructured, chaotic. And the whole idea of our program was to ensure that it was looked at as projects that needed to get executed very, very efficiently. So today we have over 35% of our employees who are engaged in Edelgive's work, who have given their time, and they work around areas like strategy and planning, financial sustainability, systems, processes, and technology, and human resources. These are the 4 areas that we realized were key when it came to working around nonprofit sustainability.
And also, when you support an entrepreneur, as you're saying, they may be a small entity or a medium entity, they may have to pivot, they may need to change their strategy. So, suppose they are into education and then suddenly they need to pivot to livelihood or whatever. Are you supporting the entrepreneur and go all the way, or do you say, no, we only do education but need to do something different? How do you decide on those kinds of things?
I think that's a very important question, because we believe that the whole idea of nonprofits is not really to do the same thing year on year. That means something is not working with the solution to the problem. And so one of the things we force some of our larger NGOs to do, which have evolved to a certain size, is to focus on what next and to listen to the community that they're working around and to focus on what is really the need, because the needs of the community keep changing. There's an excellent organization whose example I'd like to give in this regard in Rajasthan. Started working around migrant labor as part of our livelihoods portfolio. We supported them. Working around very low-skilled workers that move from Rajasthan to Gujarat and Maharashtra in search of jobs. And their whole objective was not to prevent migration, but to make migration a more sustainable method of earning a livelihood by working around worker rights, etc. But they realized that the families left behind also had huge needs. Right. And so we worked with them on seeding a really brilliant financial inclusion program where we work with the families of the migrant laborers and work around both literacy and the available access to financial products that made the most sense to that community. We're now working around the health of the women and the children because there's severe malnutrition in the area. So we seed these things, and then as they become as they grow, they find more sustainable long-term funding, because that's not really our primary area. Yeah. The idea is to help entrepreneurs pilot small projects that can then become full-scale programs.
Yeah, in some ways, you're taking what works in the for-profit world and translating into the non-profit world with the help of those who are doing this in the for-profit world. So as we got to know you, I've asked you everything from introduce me to this person in Singapore to other, inner circle members, to all kinds of things. But one of the most important questions I asked you was, we wanted to bring someone with a certain persona to Inc. to talk about, to somehow represent the work that you do, but really is an iconic person. And tell us who you chose should speak and why.
So it was very difficult because, we have 28 active organizations that we support, and they're all have fabulous founders. But my personal soft part of me really likes to work around women's issues. And we happened to get to know Majlis, the organization, and the founder behind it, Flavia Agnes, who's also our next speaker. We just met her fortuitously. She's been working around women's issues for the last 35 years in Mumbai. A lot of us know of her, and we know of her work, particularly because of the touching and absolutely fabulous book she's written about her own journey and her life. And I hope she tells us about that as well. But I think she stands for somebody who's battled incredible odds to get where she has. I mean, everything was against her, not only family, community, education, the fact that she hadn't studied very much, the fact that she had children and she had the children to bring along with her in whatever choices she made in her life. I think that for me stands for absolute courage and determination. So, and that's why we chose Flavia.
So that's the introduction to our next speaker, Flavia Agnes. Thank you, Vidya.